We are diving into the latter half of Batman Year One. This is part 4, Batman issue 407. And I gotta say, this is, other than The Dark Knight Returns, this is probably one of Frank Miller's best work, because this really did set the tone for Batman coming out of post-crisis. I mean, the latter half of the Silver Age, when they were kind of showing how Batman was going to, not grimier or grimmier or darker, like it's a mixed bag, because I miss when Batman did the detective work, but right here I appreciate this because it kind of accumulated everything, where he's the detective, but it's showing that, he didn't start out being the bee's knees, is how nowadays I'm not saying overrated, but how everyone's like, oh, Batman can be anybody with prep time. This at least shows that he's a human being trying to do something that's right. So let's dive into this. I'll eventually go over the other ones. I was reluctant to pull my originals up. This is a reprint that I'll eventually be giving to my son. So that's why I was like, let's go ahead and start with part 4. He's out to clean up a city that likes being dirty. Can't do it alone. This is by Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli, I believe is how you pronounce it. And then, of course, Batman was created by Bill Finger with Bob King, and I also appreciate that they put Jerry Robinson in here as well. Richmond Lewis was the colorist, and Todd Klein was the letterer, if I can speak correctly. Now, what makes this book interesting is, yes, we get some moments of like third-person narration from Bruce, but it's more so from the point of view of Gordon. He's just come to Gotham City, set up as a lieutenant. He's not commissioner yet. He's with his wife, Barbara. But because of the long hours, he's started a relationship with Detective Essen. And so they come here, and I believe the name of the painting, or at least the artist, was Hopper, the traditional coffee shop late at night. This is an homage to it. It's the right thing to do. It's the only thing to do. You should take the bracelet. I'm sure your wife would like it. No, please, Sarah, keep it. Damn it, Jim, you're right, of course. I just want to know, if your wife weren't pregnant, would you? I'm sorry, that wasn't fair. Damn it, Jim. Hero Cop Lieutenant James Gordon today apprehended notorious narcotics dealer Jefferson Skeevers. It looks like Gordon's out to set a record, right, Tom? It sure does, Trish. He's caught a big fish this time. If Skeevers is convicted, this will be the 4th time he goes to prison. I bet they throw away the key. And in just true old school Frank Miller fashion, they use the talking TV heads. And this is one thing that I do kind of have a beef with, was where I'll watch like Reels or TikTok shorts where modern comic readers will use, I think it's Duke Nukem. They go, wow, that's a lot of words. Too bad I'm not going to read them. And to a degree with older books, when it gets a little wordy, I understand. But here's the difference between old school wordiness and like modern wordiness. In this era, it mattered. It set a tone. As where nowadays, it just feels exhausting. Like nowadays, it feels like a chore. Like it's not setting it's not setting a tone for, like, for example, when we went over Hulk 181, and they're saying, like, the jaded green giant is attacking the Wolverine, and you feel that suspense through the third person narration. And I just feel like nowadays that's lost. So with that said, we go from September 2nd to the 5th. Her arms are strong. Her whole body's strong. It's late. We've both worked late again. I never get tired around her. She's requested a transfer. She's leaving Gotham City. I'm in love with her. It's the only thing to do. And in terms of letting the panel do the art, we see that they're kind of doing like a goodbye kiss. And then, of course, we see a picture of his wife, Barbara, on the desk. It's just a nice little way to set up what's going on. Now, one thing that I'm going to say, the Batman Year One animated film, and this is my personal opinion, let me know what y'all think, but I do feel that it really captured this comic series just about to a T. And it will definitely go down in the annals of Batman history. So Skeevers, the guy that we were just talking about, Judge Rafferty set bail for Jefferson Skeevers. Surprisingly, Assistant District Attorney Harvey Dent did not argue with this decision. And so Without making any type of two-faced innuendo, we know who Harvey Dent is. And we see Gordon get in his face. I know you aren't on the take, and I don't think you're crazy. So tell me, why did you let Skeevers out on the streets, Dent? I understand how you feel, Lieutenant. Would you like to borrow my umbrella? Now, if I'm not mistaken, in the animated film, when Dent is having this altercation with Gordon, I believe Batman's like hiding under the desk or behind the curtain or something like that. But here we cut from that to Batman climbing up a wall. We hear, no, none of that. You stay clean until we've gotten you off. Don't sweat it, babe. Just a couple of lines. Dent and Gordon are hot for you, Skeevers. They'd love to catch you with your pants down. Catch me? They caught me, babe, and they let me go. You got me a court order tying Gordon's hands. And so this is Skeevers talking to his attorney. And again, kind of going back to relatively humanizing the Bat. We actually see that he has to climb, like he's really putting in the effort. Actually get that. It's just a couple of lines. Where do I start? I want you in a blue suit at the inquest with a tie. Make it black. Same for the shoes. None of that pimp stuff. And when you smile at the jury, make it nice, particularly the women. I smiled at them, okay? Just remember, they still got their clothes on. And then all of a sudden we hear, Skeevers, you all right? And I just love this terrified look in his face. I'm fine. Better lay off that coke. Bad on the nerves. But even though we see that Batman is kind of great, you can never escape me. Bullets don't harm me. Nothing harms me. But I know pain. I know pain. Sometimes I share it with someone like you. And just the close-ups and then just the cut to black. September 12th. I want to talk to Dent. Cop a plea. Want to talk about Flass. And so for those of you that have never read this, let me bring you a little bit up to speed because I know this is the last issue. At this point, like I said, Gordon is a lieutenant. Commissioner Loeb, and then he has his lackey, which is, his name is Flask. I can't remember his first name off the top of my head. But of course, it's all, what do you call it? It's all Arnold Flask. There it is. They're corrupted, essentially. And so Gordon says, Merkel, get Dent. Forget to tell the commissioner. And of course, he gets hauled into the commissioner's office. Detective Flass is a friend of mine, Gordon. You might have at least informed me of your plans before handing this to internal affairs. Friendship, Gordon. Loyalty. These words still count for something in Gotham. We took you in, yes, we did. Blemishes and all. And you do have your blemishes. And you go and I've done exactly what I promised, Commissioner. You got my best work. You get good press, I'll give you that. They like you, don't they, Aggie and his pack at the Gazette? They don't know you? No, they don't. Not the way we know you. Terrible if they, or your wife, learned of the special nature of your relationship with Sergeant Essen. Walls have ears, Jimmy. So they think that they have him over a barrel. And just that claustrophobic feeling of the panels, you just feel that moment where James Gordon's just like, oh no, what have I done? So in all of this, Gordon is trying to figure out who is the Batman. He has his hunches that it is Bruce Wayne. The butler makes us feel as welcome as a virus. He leads us through 3 rooms the size of small states to Wayne's study. He's been out of the country, had the flu, and then this morning I was told Wayne had a hangover, but he'd see me. And then he brings his wife with him, and he goes, better than having Barbara stay at home and worry about being overdue. Ms. Gordon, I'm charmed. Alfred, be a joy and get some glasses for our guests. And another bottle. This one's evaporated. Little early in the day for us, thanks. Mr. Wayne, I don't want to waste your time. My time's worthless, Lieutenant. Just ask Alfred. I've been following your exploits, and I must say I'm impressed. You're getting as much press as Batman. It is Batman you want to talk about, isn't it? Something about my being him. Excuse me, it must be the champagne. I neglected to introduce my friend. You see, I'm not sure her name, and she doesn't speak any language that I know. That must be convenient. Barbara. Mr. Wayne, I need to know where you were on the following dates. And so he's able to kind of clear himself essentially. And he says, but where's it goes? Barbara says, he's a pig. He's acting like one, that's for sure. But any man who wear a cape, and it's a cape, not wings, I've seen it. Anybody who'd wear a cape and hunt criminals might go pretty far to keep his secrets. Secrets, damn it all. Jim, why are you stopping? Honey, there's something we need to talk about. 10 minutes he's been there. Now he's moving. Good. Alfred, did you like my performance? And so again, even though it's just kind of like sitting and talking, you feel the tension. You feel what Gordon's trying to keep his job, to keep his family above water, even though he's harboring this awful thing that he's done. And then, without saying it, he reveals to his wife what he did. And so, of course, call happens, and Barbara answers the phone, and you can see the misery and the betrayal on her face as he stands in the background, shrouded in shadow. Yes, sir, I know about Sergeant Essen. Please don't bother me again. And it's a really hard panel for that reason. But as we go forward, something happens to Skeevers, and then we see Batman come after the Roman. And of course, he's kind of running Gotham at this point. And there's also a B plot where we are reintroduced to Catwoman, and she's trying to make her mark. But everyone keeps chalking it up to the Batman. So she also says she's going to attack the Roman. So when everything finally comes to a crescendo here, we see that Batman and Catwoman collide. Now, if y'all have read Tom King's Batman run, which I do not recommend, there's a running gag where, as they're getting ready to be married, they'll say, we met on the train. No, we met on the rooftop. And what they're doing with that meta, is talking about Catwoman's first appearance, which I think it was on top of a speeding train, or it wasn't a train, it was a boat. I believe it was a boat. They said the boat or the rooftop. So that's their meta way of saying the first time they met in the Golden Age versus the year one, for those of you that may not have known. But anyway, we come to the end. Gordon's trying to watch over their firstborn son, which I believe is James. He goes, yes, Commissioner. Sir, Merkel's on duty. He can't. Yes, sir, on my way. Gordon's leaving. Tell the Roman. Third rate witness in a nickel and dime open and shut domestic grievance, and Loeb knows I've only had 2 hours of sleep. Maniac. Should arrest them. Wait a minute. Heading into my building's garage, I didn't recognize him. Suddenly my stomach's cold as death, and I'm twisting the wheel again. Nickel and dime domestic. Get me out of the apartment. Barbara, James. No sight of the motorcycle. Plenty of places to hide. So the ending here turns into a high-speed chase as Gordon goes after his son. And being a dad now, it's hard to read because of what happens to the baby. If you guys have never read it, it's going to make your stomach lurch. But at the end, covered in mud, Gordon says, you must be wearing some armor under that jacket. Yes. You know, I'm practically blind without my glasses. Siren's coming. You better go. Now, with all that said, we come to the end. And I love how it, in a sense, without them saying the end is just the beginning, it says here, they've already got Gorgon pinned to replace him. Who's worse? Still, things aren't so bad right now. Roman's been at war with his sister ever since he tried to get a hired knife slid between his nephew's ribs. I've had a few run-ins with his sister back in Chicago. I don't envy the Roman. They're all too busy to stand in the way of my promotion to captain. Sarah's in New York doing well, I hear. Barbara's not crazy about the marriage counselor, but we're making progress. And as for me, well, there's a real panic on. Someone's threatened to poison the Gotham reservoir. Calls himself the Joker. I got a friend coming who might be able to help. Should be here any minute. And if I'm not mistaken, too, if you go back into the New 52 with Scott Snyder's Death of the Family, and they're talking about the reservoir, I think that's what he's alluding to is year one. So that's how influential this reinterpretation of Batman's origin was. And again, just like how I said, it ends without having saying the end is just the beginning. It just is the end because we all know that we're moving forward. So, guys, this series is definitely majorly important to the Batman mythos. And if you've never read it, I highly recommend going out there and getting the individual floppies or the collected trades because it's one of those ones that'll continually be in reprint. And also check out the animated film. It is absolutely spectacular. So with that said, if you've enjoyed what you've seen, please first and foremost support your local comic shop or wherever you like to get your comics and action figures and pick this up. And if you've enjoyed this review, really would appreciate taking a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little bat bell next to subscribe, that way as I continue to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel, and I love talking with you all and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments or the socials, which I'll make sure the links down in the description. And if you enjoy what I do and you'd like to support the channel, I've also left a PayPal link down in the description. And if not, I still appreciate you watching this video. Either way, thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, everyone.